Good day, this is Nation Voice Tower, your most preferred YouTube channel. How have we been? As for we over here, we've been doing perfectly. Alright, first on the list of my updates is a very highly accumulated or highly informed expose that is exposing a minister in the present administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This expose is well detailed and so information filled that when you listen and when you watch this expose, you will be able to understand why this minister or why this same man was appointed minister of that same ministry he is manning or he is heading right now. So I will be exposing how Bola Ahmed Tinubu's minister for budget and planning, Atiku Bagudu, has moved to block France from repatriating over $150 million of Abacha's loot. He did not only stop there, he went further to demand for a cut of $30 million. Yes, I once told you that the administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is filled with lots of criminals, former criminals, ex-convicts and all of that. If you have never heard of the fact that Atiku Bagudu, the present Minister of Budget and Planning, who was a former senator representing KB State Central Senatorial District, if you never knew that he was an ex-convict, then this expose is for you. If you never knew that he was jailed and finally repatriated from the United States sometime before he became senator, then this expose is for you. I would urge you to pay rapt attention. Over time, there have been controversies of returning Abacha's loot. Sani Abacha laundered or looted over $400 million in cash, if not up to $1 billion from the Nigeria coffers. But over time, he had cronies and family members, apart from his son Muhammad Abacha, who were involved in hoarding these amounts of money. Alright, one of those cronies and one of those allies that helped to hide and partake in the money laundering, as at the time before Abacha's death, was Atiku Bagudu, who is now the present Minister for Budget and Planning. You will now understand why the lines are adding up. Why was it Atiku Bagudu that is now the Minister of Budget and Planning? Why didn't it end up to be anybody else? In fact, his appointment came later in August, on August 21st, last year, 2023. That means there was a plan underneath to, confirm him as Budget and Planning Minister. We would also further expose for you to know that for Atiku Bagudu to be appointed Budget and Planning Minister, that means Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his cabinet are involved in eating, laundering and enjoyment of the former General Sani Abacha's loot. That is what I will be exposing in this particular documentary. Please, pull a seat. I tell you what, pull a seat and take a nap. Listen and watch this expose. You will know how this man, Atiku Bagudu, got involved and why the lines are adding up. You will know how the Bola Tinubu government finally is helping to hide those who are laundering money from the Abacha's loot. That Abacha's loot, I tell you, can be used to fund the budget of this country for up to 2 years. But this is somebody who is sitting as a Minister for Budget and Planning. In fact, during the last allocation of funds to ministries, the Ministry of Budget and Planning was allocated over 4.4 trillion naira, one of the biggest funds to be allocated to such a ministry since its inception. Please pull a seat and sit back. Atiku Bagudu, a notorious raider of Nigeria's treasury, now serving as Budget and Planning Minister under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has activated steps to block France from repatriating over $150 million in plundered funds lingered to the infamous Sani Abacha loot. Sources went further to reveal that Atiku Bagudu had further interest in the trench and would only back down if paid $30 million. Since 1999, Mr. Atiku Bagudu has worked against Nigeria during efforts by previous administrations to recover some of the vast loot estimated to be worth more than $8 billion, with its backing documents strewn across Western jurisdictions. But this is the first time he will be working at cross purposes against a cabinet he belongs and associates with. According to diplomatic sources, the former KB governor, serving in Bola Ahmed Tinubu's cabinet since August 21st, informed the French authorities that he was demanding $30 million cut based on some novel business and arrangement with Mr. Sani Abacha, Nigeria's brutal dictator who died on June 1998 after a protracted illness. Sources who spoke under anonymity to comment on an ongoing dispute of international dimension said the hands of France have been consequently tied by illegal action recently triggered in Paris by Mr. Atiku Bagudu and his associates. Atiku Bagudu, who is now 62 years, declined comments about the controversial move. He told sources that he had nothing to do with this and his role as a minister. Atiku Bagudu had said previously that he was not seeking to cut directly from Mr. Abacha's loot, but that his family members were involved and he had no control over how they pursued their respective interests. Since tracing began shortly after his death, Nigeria has recovered nearly $4 billion of cash and deposits that Mr. Abacha and his cronies, chief among them Mr. Atiku Bagudu, tucked silly and steely in Switzerland, United Kingdom, and other territories and elsewhere. Some of those cash assets have been returned and tied to specific developmental projects. Although anti-corruption campaigners said they found multiple instances in which some of the funds were stolen through federal racketeering and illicit contract awards over the years. Still, Mr. Atiku Bagudu's move to deprive the country of over $150 million at a time it's enduring steep crunch in cash, access and foreign exchange would complicate Bola Ahmed Tinubu's avowed efforts to mollify the hardship ravaging Nigerian masses since he abolished federal subsidies on petrol effective his assumption of office on May 29th. First time since they were instituted in 1970s as a form of wealth distribution to the poor. Bola Ahmed Tinubu started looking forward to the money following a meeting with a French diplomat in Abuja in early November, which would have been the first Abacha booty repatriation on his watch. Sources had gathered that French officials had previously indicated intention to seal the release at the recent United Nations Convention Against Corruption Conference of States Parties Summit in Atlanta. Nigeria had made a formal submission to recover the funds submitted by the nation's Attorney General. The process involves trilateral understandings between the United States, France and Nigeria, only to be thwarted following the sudden move by Atiku Bagudu, a notorious bagman of former General Sani Abacha and other kleptocrats of Nigerian origin. One Miss Catherine Colonna, the Minister of Europe and Foreign Affairs of France, who led the French envoy in November discussions, had described the fund as assets stolen from the Nigerian people by former General Sani Abacha and his family. She also disclosed that her government is interested in committing the funds to development projects that will benefit the nation. Bola Tinubu, in response, thanked the French envoy and affirmed that the recovered loot will be judiciously applied in realizing the country's developmental goals. But, on the contrary, Atiku Bagudu has made it clear to the Nigerian front in the negotiations that he would not cease legal hostilities until he has been assured of his $30 million cut, a position that starkly undermines the posturing of his principal, who says he is doing everything possible to arrest the country's economic woes and salvage all the resources it can to put the country on a sustainable economic path. While diplomatic sources characterized Atiku Bagudu's chances of absolutely blocking the $150 million without his $30 million slice as slim, they nonetheless appreciated his ability and his ability delay to transfer and delay further transactions, which would in turn prolong implementation of designated developmental projects set to commence in Nigeria upon the receipt of the funds. While the roles of some Nigerian businessmen in Abacha's loot and plunder have long been acknowledged, Mr. Bagudu has more recognition as the mastermind behind the money laundering operation that flourished under former General Sani Abacha, successfully establishing channels within both local and international financial institutions to siphon Nigeria's wealth from mid to late 90s. He set up a multi-layered covert structure to conceal stolen funds and coordinated a notable network of enablers and accomplices. 5 years after General Sani Abacha died in 2003, investigations revealed that several $1 billion in stolen funds had been traced to banks in Jersey, the largest of the autonomous islands in Europe, with a dependency on the United Kingdom. During this period, Mr. Atiku Bagudu and some members of his illicit operation group resided in Texas. He was subsequently arrested in the United States at the request of Jersey authorities, seeking to extradite him to face charges related to funds traced to the account of Doraville Properties Corp., a shadowy company he managed alongside one Muhammad Abacha, the late Sani Abacha's eldest son. The company held accounts in Deutsche Bank and other banks in New Jersey. After 6 months in detention, Mr. Atiku Bagudu struck a deal with American and Jersey authorities. In exchange for returning over $163 million of the laundered assets to Nigeria, Jersey withdrew the extradition request and Mr. Atiku Bagudu was returned to Nigeria to face trial. This information was disclosed in a court document made public in 2019. Upon his extradition to Nigeria, despite evidence supporting various allegations of embezzlement, money laundering, and criminal misappropriation of funds gathered from Switzerland, Jersey, and the US, Atiku Bagudu has not been prosecuted. Instead, he was cleared to contest the 2009 National Assembly elections and was subsequently elected as the senator representing Kebbi Central Senatorial District. In 2014, the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, announced the repatriation of $480 million, which had been stolen by former General Sani Abacha and his co-conspirators. The U.S. government's complaint asserted that the late dictator, his son Muhammad, their associate Atiku Bagudu, and others had engaged in embezzlement, misappropriation, and extortion, siphoning of billions of dollars from the Nigerian government and other entities. Their criminal proceeds were laundered through U.S. financial institutions and the acquisition of bonds backed by the U.S. In February 2020, the U.S., in collaboration with Nigeria and Jersey, entered into a trilateral agreement aimed at repatriating over $300 million in additional funds that Mr. Atiku Bagudu played a role in pilfering during the Abacha regime. Simultaneously, the U.S. declared its ongoing efforts to pursue the forfeiture of over $177 million in additional laundered funds held in trusts where Mr. Atiku Bagudu and his relatives were listed as beneficiaries. Mr. Bagudu has for years evaded accountability within the Nigerian legal system, ascending to the positions of senator and subsequently governor for an 8-year term starting in 2015. After completing his 2 governorship terms in May 2023, he was tapped to join Mr. Bola Tinubu's cabinet a few weeks later, a position that will strengthen his ability to advance his network and wealth while still shielding himself of any serious backlash. In his 2024 budget estimates, Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu earmarked over 4.4 trillion naira to the Budget and Planning Ministry under Mr. Atiku Bagudu, the largest that ever was allocated to that ministry since its creation. The move immediately sparked controversy, with Nigerians urging the parliament to significantly cut the proposal. But analysts said they have little expectation lawmakers would go against Bola Ahmed Tinubu's request. Yes. Can you now see? The lines are beginning to add up, right? Yes. Anybody, because from Bola Tinubu's story, of course, if you've been following the story of Bola Tinubu, when he was expatriated back to Nigeria, he now got money, of course, from the result of his expatriation to run for senator, run for governor, and now for president. Atiku Bagudu. No, let me not go to Atiku Bagudu yet. Femi Betajabila, the chief of staff, was repatriated. He got money to run for the House of Representatives. Calm down. Can you hear me now? Yes. As well as other members of this particular administration. Atiku Bagudu was repatriated and then he got money to run for governor, senator, and now he's the minister. Can't you see that the lines are adding up? The lines are beginning to add up. We know all these things. We know how these things play. All right. My question is one. Are the anti-graft agencies involved in this telling us that they have not seen or heard or had documented evidences of the involvement of Atiku Bagudu, the present Minister of Budget and Planning, in the said General Sani Abacha's loot? Are the anti-graft agencies like the EFCC, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and the ICPC telling us that they have not seen or they have not met physically with Atiku Bagudu to bring him in for questioning? Yeah, it's funny, right? Yes. Finally, is the government of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu trying to tell us that they did not know of the criminal records? That's part where he was convicted in US, and that's part where he was said to have forfeited over $163 million to the government of Jersey before appointing him Minister of the Federal Republic. Most importantly, Minister of a very, very sensitive ministry, like the Ministry for Budget and Planning. Are they trying to tell us they did not know? They knew all these things. But they went further to appoint him as Minister for Budget and Planning. Well, that's fine. That's fine. He demanded $30 million cut before he will give any approval for the repatriation of the $150 million Abacha's loot. I will not say much because that expose was well detailed. Now, I brought up this sometime about the death of the Osun State Governor, late Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. He's dead, yeah? But if you don't know, you won't know. Let me let you know. Let me enlighten you. There are various political activities and unpolitical activities surrounding the death of Akeredolu that nobody knew about. If you are conversant with the death of Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, how his death was hidden from Nigeria for a long while, how he was whisked in, how his dead body, let me use that word, how his body was whisked in by the airport, and how the lights in the airport were off or were switched off when his body was being taken out, how Ture Umaru Musa Yar'Adua sat on funds for weeks before agreeing to announce the death of her husband. Then you are not a visitor to the death of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Did you know? Please pay attention. Did you know that Governor Rotimi Akeredolu's wife and his son played a very big role in his death? Not that they really took part in killing him, no, or in putting him to death. No, that's not what I mean. After he has died, we have cause or we have reasons to believe that Governor Akeredolu's death occurred long time ago but they refused to tell people, and they hid it under the carpet for lots of funds to be distributed evenly for their greed to be satisfied. Exposing this is a strong son of Osun State, Omoyele Sowore, the human rights activist and the former presidential candidate of the Action Alliance Congress. And he has come out to expose the wife of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu and what they did and how they hid the news of his death even after he was confirmed dead. This brings us to that part where we don't want to believe that he died in Germany. According to the statement signed by one Junior Akeredolu, official statement of Akeredolu's death, it was announced that he died in Hanover, Germany. But the Lagos State government and the Osun State government refused to spell out the location of his death. That means something is fishy. Please go with me in this tour while Omoyele Sowore exposes the governor's wife and son and the cabal in Osun State on what they did and the part they played in the death of late Governor Rotimi Akeredolu.
This substantive governor visiting the home of Governor Akeredolu, late Governor Akeredolu today. You see the demeanor of the wife and the contempt in the way he was looking at this governor who had just come to visit. You will know that it was all manipulative. And she's acting all sad now. But so 3 days ago, the wife of the governor was in Ondo State insulting everybody that they are bush people. A week ago, he met with some members of the House of Assembly. And now we're finding out tonight that Akeredolu didn't die in Germany. So they are all lying to the public that he died in Germany. Maybe they wanted to use that to take some more money out of the state. I don't get it. Everything is a lie. Now we might have to demand to see Akeredolu's body physically to be sure that he hasn't died a long time ago and buried before they came up to announce it. Because basically, what these people did, the wife, his son, and the political cabal in Ondo State, was just use his vulnerable condition to take out their greed on the state. 5 million people. They're just taking out money, forging signatures. That's why I say that if this was a saner society, these people would be investigated and properly investigated and indicted for the criminal acts they perpetrated using a vulnerable man. This should not have happened to Akeredolu at all. And that they could do this to their family, you can understand why they are so mean towards the people of Ondo State. And, people will say, well, this is not the time to say it. But we had to say this during Yar'Adua's time. Unfortunately, we didn't learn from it. That's why this happened. Because had the law been properly done at that time after the Yar'Adua saga, we would not have had to go through this. And this is a shame. It's a shame that now we are finding out tonight that he died in his house. As of yesterday, they said he died in Lagos. The family, because I saw a statement issued by the family today, signed by one Akeredolu Jr., saying that he died in Germany. They even passed on information yesterday to the media that he died somewhere near Hanover in Germany. So they're still manipulating as we speak. But I knew as of yesterday that something is fishy about, because when President Tinubu issued his own statement, he never mentioned where he died. Lagos State, he never mentioned. It's unusual that they all did not want to talk about where he died. I have a feeling, I might be wrong, that this man probably died a long time ago before now, and they just kept him wrapped up somewhere in a cooler.
Okay, we have heard it now. Yes, we have seen it, finally. You have heard it from Omoyele Sowore. According to Nigerian language, we don't hear him now. Waiting, we want to talk again. We have heard it. What else can we say? Yeah, because if this expose is not through, then the lines would not add up. Yes, Governor Akeredolu's wife was very, very adamant on accepting that her husband was dead. She was also adamant on announcing his death until it was obvious. So she has used his death to garner lots of funds. Of course, she is still the governor's wife, and she will still remain the governor's wife until 4 years elapses, right? Although, despite the fact that the deputy governor has taken over the helm of affairs, but her place and seat as the governor's wife is unshaken. Finally, the chameleon. Calm down, calm down. This proverb is very funny, but I have to finish it up. The chameleon has learned. No. Let me say the main proverb first. They said, the chameleon once said, I will never change my forefathers' way of movement just because the bush is on fire. But now, let us turn the proverb upside down. The chameleon has finally learned to run fast. In fact, it has finally changed its forefathers' way of walking. Just because the bush is now on fire. How? Nigerians who voted Bola Ahmed Tinubu under the platform and aegis of ethnicity, religion, and sentiments are now shedding tears on the level of hardship they are encountering in the country. There is no doubt that the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Kashim Shettima has failed Nigerians in just 8 months and beyond. You've not wrapped 1 year in office, and those people who voted for you have lost confidence in you. I have somebody in this video, a former director in the government, who wept bitterly over the level of hardship coming out from the Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. This man refused to agree that Bola Tinubu is the main man for the job. No, Bola Tinubu is the main man for the job. Let us give him the job. He snatched the votes, carried it and ran away. Let's vote him. Yes. And that is why I am calling out all who voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You ain't seen nothing yet. Please watch this video to your enjoyment and to your rest and comfort.
I'm not happy with my president. I'm regretting for voting for my president and for voting for APC, because this is not what we voted for. You know, we are not voting for. We not voted for suffering. We voted for peace, tranquility, and for to alleviate poverty. Let me tell you, if he and his planners are giving reduced fuel price, it will reach common man on the street rather than giving it to private sector who are already belleful. They are going to share this money, no doubt about it. What do we gain for the past 7 months we voted for President Tinubu in Milokan? I'm a Yoruba man. I regretted for voting for him because this is not what we bargained for. I'm also a retired director. I'm telling you, a retired director collecting 75,000 naira at federal. You have 5 children or 4 children. How will you cope? Nothing for retirees. We are still suffering. They are telling us that we should manage. The vice president said we should pay our percent for 10 years. So until all Nigerians die finish before they can resuscitate us. Let's call spade a spade. This government is not doing well. Thank you.
Are you shocked? Don't be shocked, all right? Don't be shocked, because more of such complaints will still come on board. This is just the tip of the iceberg. This is just the beginning of the whole thing. We are not saying Bola Tinubu is a bad leader. We don't want to even go there, because if when we go there, we will say lots of things that are supposed to be left unsaid. We are saying, now, number one, if he was really duly voted into office, we will say, wow, yeah, we voted him into office. With our willpower, we exercised our franchise to vote him into office. But no, what did he do? Can you tell me? He grabbed power, snatched power, and ran away with power. Yes. And this is what you can expect from somebody who snatches, grabs, and runs away with power. So you have not seen anything yet. I want to use this opportunity to call all who voted for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if at all you did, that you are seeing nothing yet. There is a name they call them online. They call them the Agbadurians. Yes, they call them online the Agbadurians. I am calling out the Agbadurians. you ain't seen anything yet. Well, sorry about that man. Having 5 children, retired as a director, still he's on 75,000 naira salary and cannot feed his family. The man is bitter. We can do nothing to you, sir, but to tell you sorry and soft luck for the suffering you have incurred over time and you will incur in the near future. Thank you so much for staying this far. Please like, share our videos. Don't forget to drop a comment for us in the comment section. If you're watching me for the first time, please tap the subscribe button as well as the notification bell so that you get to see me firsthand and promptly when I drop a new update. From my table, I'm saying, see you next time. Bye.